the first time, 5 yards and a first down.
Defensive holding, number 41, first down.
Bolton Walker, an extra defensive back, the culprit. First down. That was a third down play, so a big break for the Jets. Todd intercepted by Dewey. A.J. Dewey at the 48 of New York.
A.J. Dewey, linebacker who's had a fine game so far today, reads pass, drops back slightly, sees the receiver coming underneath, pulls across on Augustiniak, and Augustiniak makes a mistake here. Taps that ball into the air. It's a tip drill for A.J. Dewey. Miami's football.
A.J. Dewey. In the Dolphin questionnaire, when they asked who are the most respected people in his life, he named in order Shula, President Reagan, and my parents. That just gives you an idea of where the head coach of the Dolphins fits into the plans and respect of his athletes. Franklin to the 40-yard line, and on this field, that's a long run, 8 yards. Franklin gained 34 the entire first half.
Franklin doing a fine job of finding running room on that play. They're operating out of the sloppiest part of this field. Number 56, Lance Mell, has played extremely well against the run, but he's blocked away by number 84, Hardy, on that play. Late getting back in to get a piece on the tackle.
Second down and 2. Franklin spins, fumbles, and the Jets mark Gastineau has the ball. Gastineau. What's he going to do for us? Well, that wasn't very spectacular. He only likes to celebrate sacks. But hold on. We may have a penalty. Ball dead? Let's see.
You got to be kidding me.
That's exactly the expression on Michael's face.
Forward.
The ball was ruled dead. Oh, what a break for Miami. No question, it appeared to be a fumble in the eyes of the Jets fans and really everyone here in the Orange Bowl.
And we'll show you why. Andra Franklin running up inside. Buttle comes in and blasts him right there. The ball is already moving out of his hands before he even got close to the ground.
Gastineau, premature in his celebration.
Gastineau still shaking his head.
That was a quick whistle.
Yeah, they're measuring now to see if they got the first down. Big turnaround. Gastineau certainly not endearing himself to the fans here as he does a bit of hot dogging on that last play.
They're short of the first down by about a foot. Kind of tough to tell from our angle, but it did appear that that ball was popping free out of the grasp, and with a live eye from long distance, it certainly appeared that McNeil had fumbled, or Franklin had fumbled.
Well, that's one you spend some time looking at over and over again when you go into the film rooms on Monday.
The other young man on the sidelines is the other son of Don Shula, who was an all-state quarterback here in Miami. Third down, less than a yard. Nathan. First down at the Jets 34. Woody Bennett with a good block, 5 yards. And Miami, when it appeared they'd lost the ball on a fumble, retains it and has a first down. deeper into Jets territory.
Dwight Stevenson right there in the middle of your screen. He's the man responsible for starting the action here. And you'll see them slanting off to the right-hand side. Nathan read the slant, got back to the right side. Gastineau did not fill the gap to the inside on that last play. Nathan had plenty of room to run for the first down.
No score in the game. If you're just joining us, we're early in the third quarter. Woodley and Vigorito struggles for the 29, a gain of 5. Troy made the tackle.
Kenny Schroy has made some very big plays in this half. That was a very tough one-on-one play. Had the back and a blocker out front. Schroy able to get up and make a beautiful one-on-one play to keep that play from gaining big yardage.
Woodley, a little play-action look to Vigorito. And Troy beating the blocker and hanging on tenaciously. 2nd and 5. Draw, Nathan, and a superb tackle by Buttle, one of many registered by the former star at Penn State. Buttle, when it appeared Nathan had some running room.
Greg Buttle making another big play in this game. Tremendous speed. Does not show you that kind of speed in the open field, but has excellent reactions. Watch him here. Reads the move outside, bounces off the block right there by Woody Bennett, and gets out there to make a fine shoestring tackle on number 22, Tony Nathan.
Gain of a yard. 3rd and 4. You saw Von Schaman pacing the sidelines. Woodley. Is it a catch? Yes. At the 14-yard line. Harris.
Bobby Jackson arguing loud and long enough to get a flag. Boy, you don't want to make a mistake like that. Here, watch it now. Juriel Harris laying those 2 feet down comfortably inside, and Bobby Jackson talked a little too long at the officials.
So on a drive where the Jets thought they had the ball, thinking that a fumble had been forced out of the grasp of Andre Franklin, but a quick whistle had blown it dead, and the Miami Dolphins now have driven to the 7-yard line with the penalty. 1st and goal.
Conduct, number 40.
Exactly as you saw it, Merlin Olsen. Bobby Jackson verbalized his way into another penalty half the distance.
And after such a fine full half of defensive performance, the Jets have lost their poise momentarily in the second half.
Woody Bennett is the lone back. Double tight ends, Ronnie Lee and Bruce Hardy. Cephalo to the right, Harris to the left. Bennett. Touchdown! Woody Bennett, who played here at Miami of Florida. He said, I felt like I'm on the moon these past few weeks.
Coming right into you. Felt like you're part of the defense on that one. Next play, you'll see the offensive line, in particular, an excellent block as Woody Bennett takes his bow on number 77, Kenny Neal. We'll have to come back and show you that later.
So a former Jet has scored the first points of the game for Miami. Von Schaman. It's good. So A.J. Dewey with a pass interception at the Jets 48. The Dolphins don't fumble.
Sports announces free.
Tremendous block on Kenny Neal, a trap block from the inside by number 60. Taves, Jeff Taves, literally buried Neal on that play, making room on the inside. You see Kenny's reaction, and then you see Woody Bennett's reaction along with, who is that? Loxo. Eric Loxo.
And now the Jets will get the ball. Von Schaman, obviously, his back not bothering him. He kicked freely and easily on that extra point. Now kicks off to Jones and Sohn. And he hits it. Oh! They'll take the touchback. What a kick by Von Schaman. And this crowd, knowing Von Schaman's injury and the fact he didn't kick all week in practice, could not be happier for him.
That's a tough young man. He told us yesterday at practice, he said, I'm going to play. A lot of talk this week about the fact that we would see Oros as the kicker in this game, especially on kickoffs. Von Schaman said, no way. I'm going to kick it off. I'm going to play in the game. I can live with the pain. He certainly has done that and performed admirably.
7-0. Miami lead. Todd to Augustiniak. It was Augustiniak, you remember, the intended receiver. He deflected the pass in the air that Dewey intercepted that led to the 48-yard drive to a touchdown. Sphygmomanometer being used there by the doctor on the Miami sidelines, measuring the blood pressure of Andre Franklin.
Some concern there must be. Sometimes players, in the excitement of a big game like this, blood pressures tend to rise, heartbeats tend to rise, and there is that kind of caution on the sideline. I'm glad to see it being exercised here.
2nd and 2. Thought I heard a whistle before the snap. Maybe it was in the crowd. Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is WRC-TV, Channel 4, Washington, D.C.
Augustiniak did not pick up the first down. It's 3rd down and 1. With Merlin Olsen, this is Dick Enberg, our entire NFL 82 crew from the Orange Bowl in Miami for the championship of the American Football Conference. Will it be the New York Jets, who are playing their 6th consecutive game on the road? They've knocked off the number 1 team, the Raiders, the number 3 team, Cincinnati, playing number 2 Miami today. Or will the Dolphins continue their excellence at home in the Orange Bowl, boosted by this big, noisy crowd?
I see a clean jersey in there. Not hard to spot substitutes. 83, Vern Denherter has got into the lineup. Looks like they're playing a 4-man line down there right now, Dick.
And another clean jersey, Tom Newton, number 44 of the Jets. He's the wing on the right. Todd rolling and throwing to Augustiniak for the first down, out of bounds at the 33 or 4-yard line. There's Denherter. He goes back to that ultimate season 10 years ago when Miami 17-0. Never been done before nor since.
Number 83, I said he had a clean jersey. Well, at least the front is dirty now. But if you're a defensive lineman, you don't mind having the front of your jersey dirty. When the back's dirty, you got a problem.
Good measure of how your work has gone for the day. Tipped again, but caught by Lamb Jones across the 40-yard line. Todd has not been able to get the ball to his favorite receiver, Wesley Walker. Walker's been shut out, but Lamb Jones now has his 3rd catch. It's a 1st down, New York.
Ball tipped as it came over the top here, but right there by number 50, Gordon. But Lamb Jones kept his concentration on the ball. He's had 2 excellent catches during the day. One of the reasons that Walker, and we showed you a little package of it earlier, has had trouble is that they're bouncing him so heavily on the line of scrimmage, they won't let him out into his pattern.
Freeman McNeil to the 44-yard line. Ernest Roan and Bob Brzezinski made the tackle. Thing to remember about this Miami defense, it is very young in the line and linebackers.
Number 55, Ernest Roan, reacting quickly. You've seen excellent reactions on the part of the Jets linebackers. You saw excellent reactions and great position there by number 55, Roan. Watch the cut, the attempt to cut here by McNeil. Watch his feet as he plants right there. You see the slipping? Had he been able to plant firmly and quickly, he might have gotten inside that tackle by Roan.
Second down, 8. 9:45 left in the third quarter. 7-0 Miami. Almost intercepted by Lyle Blackwood, number 42. Intended for Lamb Jones. Oh, he's quick reacting to the ball.
Smart, tough. Has gotten there several times today in key situations. A chance to watch him in action. Read the quarterback first, watch him right at the quarterback's eyes, saw the ball, and quickly in front of the receiver. The way the good safety has to play the football.
Glenn Blackwood is the younger of the two. Lyle, who just made that play, 31 years of age. We talked about the youth of the Miami defense. Lyle Blackwood, Vern Den Herter are the only players over 30 on that defense. 3rd and 8. Barkham almost had the deflection. Don McNeil made the defensive play. Barkham just couldn't quite get his fingers to the ball.
In last week's playoff game, Bob Gracie talked about the maturity and the strength of this defense, the fact that they're willing to take the risks now. Watch McNeil take a gamble right here. Comes all the way out in front. It almost backfired as he knocked the ball up into the air instead of down, but they get away with it. They force the punt.
Miami had 7 defensive backs on the field for that last play. Rain is falling again. Ramsey to punt. Beautiful spiral. Vigorito had his 8. 15 out of bounds about the 21-yard line. Tommy Vigorito, whose father, we talked about the small football world. Tommy's father, Ralph Vigorito, was a player on the New York Titans, the Titans of 60, 61, 62, and then their purchase, and they became the New York Jets in 1963. More on that later.
Bring out your best.
Miami leads 7-0 on a 7-yard run up the middle by Woody Bennett. Two teams that have run the football well this year. After Buffalo and the Patriots came the Dolphins and the Jets. And it's been a day for the runners, not the passers, in the rain in Miami. Woodley has been intercepted twice. Going for Harris, he's wide open. Just missed connections as Darrell Ray was looking outside, Troy was looking outside, and Harris went right down the middle.
Give you a little understanding as to why he was so wide open. Ray read the break to the outside, turned completely around, and not able to accelerate. We talked about the hamstring injury. He's still not 100%. Juriel Harris not only turned him around, but had it wide open down the middle, could not hang on to the football.
Darrell Ray, the big play defensive back in 3 years with the Jets. He has already intercepted 16 passes and has 5 touchdowns. Bennett, and the touchdown maker, drives to the 28. Buttle with another tackle.
Bennett playing now for the injured Andre Franklin. Is playing some bruising football. He's been out of the lineup for quite a while. He's glad to get his chance here and making the most of it here as he grinds it out over the middle. Ooh, that's bruising football.
Time is called. Franklin on the sidelines. Something to do with his cardiopulmonary. The fact that they were taking the blood pressure. And an injury. Marty Lyons, Merlin had pointed out, played only a handful of plays the last 3 games of the year. Has been hampered by an assortment of injuries. Going as far as he can. We'll see whether he'll be able to return. It is 3rd down and 3. Joe Klecko moves inside at a tackle spot. Draw play to Bennett. He almost fumbled as Neal knifing in from the defensive right end position. In on the tackle along with number 50 Bob Crable, and Tom Oros and the punting team is on for Miami.
Going to isolate their cameras, our special cameras, right in the middle of the line on Dwight Stevenson, right in the middle of your screen. Watch the pass block now that will become a run block. He's got a hold of number 74 Salam, stays with him, but Salam stuffed it to the center. Got a lot of help. Lance Mel 56, 47 Jerry Holmes over the top. Oros going to have to kick it away. Jets need to get themselves a drive going, Dick.
And thus far have not even been able to drive within field goal range, trailing 7-0. Kurt Sohn will let it bounce. Almost hit one of the Jets. In fact, Miami thought that might have been the case. That was Heflin who fell on the ball, squirted away from him out of bounds, and the Jets will own it just outside their 40-yard line. So they come up a good field position on a 30-yard punt by Tom Oros. So far, it's Miami 7-0, 7:25 left, 3rd quarter. On the Jets touchdown drive, this was a play perhaps of controversy. Franklin carrying. The Jets thought they got a fumble. There's the hit by Buttle. Watch to the left. You see the ball squirting free. And the ruling we now get from the field is that the officials blew it dead because Franklin was moving backwards from the defensive hit. Of course, often that's the case of every tackle. Woody Bennett has replaced Franklin, and that's Bennett suffering the consequences as Lyons, 93, back in there, teaming with Mel on the tackle. And there's Franklin. We understand he took a blow to the head, and that's what's keeping him on the sidelines.
Appears to be feeling better. But Woody Bennett taking advantage of his opportunity on the field. We may not see Franklin.
6:49, 48 clock running, 3rd quarter. 2nd down, 8. Tony Nathan is the only setback behind Woodley. Double tight end, Hardy and Rose. They like to go to Rose in this situation. Woodley. And Neal gets him from the backside. Kenny Neal from Iowa State. That's the 2nd sack for New York.
Neal coming from the backside, on the blind side of the quarterback. You saw him going for the football. Kenny, of course, has gotten a chance to play because of the injury to Klecko. Working right here on Giesler. He'll come around from behind. You see him looking for that football. He wanted to snap it out of the hands of the quarterback.
Lost back to the Miami 29-yard line, where it is 3rd down and 17. Woodley under pressure has a man. That's going to be very close to a 1st down. Tommy Vigorito. It appeared to be good for 20 yards, and it is a 1st down, Miami.
The New York Jets in a zone defense. Now watch the linebackers dropping back. Right here, the opening between the linebackers and the defensive backs. Watch Vigorito pull right up inside. The ball perfectly thrown. Literally a circle around Vigorito.
They gave him excellent forward progress all the way to the 49-yard line. Gave him maybe an extra yard, but he had the 1st down anyway. 5:05 left in the 3rd quarter. Miami with the ball. Tony Nathan to the Jets' 47-yard line. Lance Mel, still another tackle. Drafted in the 3rd round. Walt Michael says he's all-pro material and has certainly proved his merit during the course of this year and the playoffs.
That's an all-pro play. Lance Mel's the right outside linebacker, came all the way across, made that play close to the line of scrimmage on the left-hand side of the field.
Well, Michael says, I'm not taking anything away from the Hendricks and people like that who blitz the quarterback, Lawrence Taylor's, but Mel is a true linebacker. He doesn't line up on the line of scrimmage. Boy, good traverse action by Mel to make the play. 2nd and 7. Bennett hit in the backfield and dropped at the Miami 49. Lions finished off the work started by Mel, the linebacker.
Excellent penetration, and of course, although Mel did not make the tackle, he forced the balance and forced the back deep. Lions, and although he had to leave the game, and he's leaving again right now, able to play on that injured hamstring in spite of the problems he's having with it.
Bob Crable comes in a pass situation, and so does Johnny Lynn, the 5th defensive back. So the Jets with a 3-4-4 took that 3-3-5 alignment. Woodley going deep, and Harris was out of bounds as the ball came to him. And Miami will have to kick away with 3:26 left in this 3rd quarter. It could be significant, but most of the players, the kickers here in Miami, feel it's to the kicker's advantage to kick to the closed end of the stadium. And the Jets will have that advantage in the 4th quarter. Miami has it in this, the 3rd period, leading 7-0.
Let's see if the Jets will come after this kick by Orris. They've got 10 minutes.
And out of bounds at the 22-yard line. Jets will start there. Oros has not had a good day. 29 yards on that effort.
Joe Walton has to be shaking his head on the far sideline. One of the problems that Richard Todd had early in his career was he threw a lot of interceptions. High percentage of interceptions to completions. He really had gotten over that, except against the Miami Dolphins. You saw the stats earlier. 5 of his 8 interceptions on this season against this Dolphin defense.
And 3 more today. Blackwood with 1 and Dewey with a pair. Reminder that after our championship game here from Miami, we'll be switching you out to Palm Desert, California. Vin Scully, Lee Trevino, 2 new members of our NBC Sports team, and we're really pleased to have them join the club. There to call the action on 18, the 5th and final round of the Bob Hope Desert Classic. Freeman McNeil tripped up after a gain of 3. Bob Hope, by the way, and you're going to be collaborating with that great entertainer this coming Saturday night.
Little Super Bowl party for Bob Hope and some very interesting people. Don Rickles, Lola Falana, Miss America, a couple of dozen outstanding NFL players and cheerleaders. They're going to be a lot of fun that night.
What's Rickles going to play, a referee?
He gets dressed up. He plays a coach in one scene.
That's next Saturday night. McNeil. No blocking, and out of bounds he goes. Larry Gordon bumped him out after a 1-yard gain. Dewey was over there as well, along with Gerald Small.
Wide receivers don't just catch the football. They're also expected to block. Wesley Walker willing to throw his body in there, but unable to block Gerald Small. It was Small who really did the damage on the outside as McNeil had to take it out of bounds.
3rd and 6. Walker to the right, Jones to the left. Todd going deep for Walker, but he was not in bounds. He did not get both feet down at the Miami 49. Walker has not caught a pass.
That's the kind of play that Wesley Walker has used to beat these Dolphins many, many times. You saw him escaping from the line of scrimmage. Fulton Walker, 41, the man that tried to bump him, but Wesley got too far downfield. Did not feel that sideline. Watch the feet here. 1 foot in.
No, not even
one. No. Had them both out.
So at 2.5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter, Chuck Ramsey to punt. Vigorito back at his 35. High kick. Figueredo fair catch with Woodring right on top of. No, it's Kurt Sohn on top of him. And it'll be Miami's ball at about the 32-yard line. 43-yard punt by Ramsey. Next Sunday, it all begins at 9:30 in the West, 12:30 in the East with Sports World. UCLA plays Notre Dame, a rematch of one of college basketball's top rivalries. You'll be able to see the top-rated Bruins, who beat Cal and Stanford this weekend and undoubtedly will retain their #1 spot. And then from Pasadena's Rose Bowl, all the Super Bowl activity, NFL 82 at 4 o'clock in the East, 1 o'clock in the West, and then the action of Super Bowl 17, the Washington Redskins from the National Conference against the winner here today. Next Sunday on NBC. Bennett out to the 35-yard line. Woody Bennett, who played his college football here at Miami of Florida, was a free agent of the Jets in 1979. Acquired by Miami, and last year suffered a very severe knee injury, and he was fearful he'd never play again. That's why I said I feel like I'm on the moon these last few weeks. Not only is my knee okay, but I'm playing and I'm contributing here in the playoffs.
Coming off the field, let's see why that play was successful. The block right there by Loxo on Gastineau, driving him outside, and a beautiful cut inside by Taves on number 73, Klecko.
Eddie Hill, number 31 in the backfield. That's Nathan. Down he goes. 3 jet greens on him. Lyons, Blinka, and Jackson. Short yardage. It'll be 3rd down and about 7. Kozlowski, the nickel back of the Dolphins, being attended to. It looks as if they're working on right leg. 7-0. There was no score at halftime. A.J. Dewey intercepted a deflected pass at the New York 48-yard line. Here in the 3rd quarter, a fumble that was whistled dead, and Miami maintained possession, and finally Woody Bennett scored on a 7-yard run up the middle. That's the only score of the game. Woodley gets away and has the first down at the 47. Neal and Gastineau had him, but Woodley escaped.
We talked about the quick feet of David Woodley. He was out of the grasp of Gastineau. It's an all-out blitz. Crable, number 50, coming. Klecko, number 73. But it's Gastineau coming from the outside that gets in from behind. But Woodley sees an opening up the middle. They left some room for him. He takes off, picks up the first down.
Joe Rose, you saw, there he is. He throws a vicious block here to help Woodley. Gets Buttle out of the action.
David Woodley with 207 yards, 36 carries, a 5-point average on the season. A big first down there, and they shoot the clock.
That is the end of the 3rd quarter. Miami's Orange Bowl, 15 minutes from Pasadena, 7-0 Dolphins. Dolph fan Kenny encouraging the crowd here in Miami's Orange Bowl. Today's game is brought to you by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. By the new Chrysler Corporation, where low financing and long protection help make car buying easier. And by Merrill Lynch, whose ability to guide you through the intricacies of investing makes them a breed apart. 7-0 Miami. We move to the 4th quarter here at the Orange Bowl. Miami has outgained the Jets 186-112. The Dolphins with the ball. First down at their 47. This is Bennett. Boy, on that field, there isn't much opportunity to hesitate and juke. Once you do that, the defense swarms, and that's a -2 for Bennett.
The swarming on that play by number 93, Marty Lyons. Lyons doing an excellent job of sliding with the action. Put a sure and cinching tackle on Woody Bennett for a 2-yard, yard-and-a-half loss, 2-yard loss.
Quite a talented family, Lyons. 2 brothers played college basketball, one at Army, the other at Loyola, Maryland. From the 45, Miami territory. 2nd and 12. Woodley rolling. He's got running room, but elects to throw. Duriel Harris. Jerry Holmes was beaten, but the throw long. It appeared that Woodley, had he wanted to tuck it away, had 10 or 15 good yards down the right sidelines.
He certainly did, and of course I don't blame him for wanting the big shot. He'd love to see 14 points up on the scoring column. But you can't be greedy in this game, Dick. Sometimes you got to be willing to take that short yardage. He's got all kinds of room to the outside, but a little too much adrenaline. Saw the receiver open, and it goes well beyond the outstretched arms of Duriel Harris.
Harris, who played his college ball at New Mexico State, another game effort. 3rd and 12.
Jerry Holmes, the defender for the New York Jets.
Cephalo is in the game. He's wide right. They go the other way to Harris. Incomplete, and Darrell Ray came over from the free safety spot to make the defensive play, and Tom Oros comes in to punt for Miami.
Jerry Holmes over quickly to thank Darrell Ray. Duriel Harris had gotten in behind Holmes here. He's expecting help from the inside. The help arrives in a nick of time right here as Darrell Ray hits Duriel Harris as he reaches for that football. No chance on the catch.
Handsome young man from Oklahoma. Oros is averaging less than 36 yards a punt on 6 kicks today. Kurt Sohn has some running room. 25, 30, 40, and he's out of bounds at the 45. A fine return by Kurt Sohn from Fordham. School with such a tremendous collegiate football heritage. Includes the Vince Lombardi way back in the blocks of granite. Not just rain out of the sky in Miami. Whoops, there's comes Sohn. How did he get loose?
Let's watch for a great block here by Johnny Lynn. Right there, watch this man. Bowser, right there. He's going to be nailed by number 29, Johnny Lynn here, with a well-timed block that springs Kurt Sohn down the sideline.
25-yard return by Sohn. First down Jets at the 45-yard line. Freeman McNeil struggles for a couple. Miami defense has been tough. Doug Betters spearheaded the charge.
Although McNeil has had a couple of runs, it's apparent that his running style not well adapted to this loose turf. He's really had problems putting on the kind of exhibition that he has put on. He had 200-yard games plus back-to-back coming in. Nowhere near that today, as you see his average of 2.6, just 42 yards and 16 rushes for McNeil.
McNeil, who set a Jet record with 202 yards against Cincinnati and had 101 last week against the Raiders. But no one is running well on this field. Todd gets Barkham incomplete at the 46. Barkham was open. Todd consistently throwing low to his receivers.
I think the reason is the final note in that column, 3 interceptions. I think he's angry about that. He's gunning the ball a little bit, putting a little bit of extra shot on it, Dick, to try and stay away from the interception, but throwing it low as a result, making it difficult for his receivers.
Third between 7 and 8. Intercepted, and that's going to be a touchdown. A.J. Dewey. What a day for Dewey. It is hard to believe A.J. Dewey in 6 years in the NFL has only 2 interceptions. He has 3 today, and that one for a touchdown.
That big hug he got from Arnsparger as he came off. But Dewey bobbling that. That was the defensive lineman in him, bobbled that football. The linebacker in him got a hold of it and carried it across. A big 6-point turnaround. Let's see if they can make it 7.
Von Schaumann's kick is good. An American Conference Championship record, 3 interceptions by A.J. Dewey, 14-0 Miami. A.J. Dewey, 3 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown, 35 yards, and Richard Todd and the Jets are down 14-0. What a play, and yesterday it was a lineman for the Redskins. Great.
2 big plays, a lineman's dream to have that ball bounced into his hands. We saw it yesterday in that Redskin game. It was a big play there, equally big in this game as Dewey continues to perform in an outstanding fashion.
Darrell Grant of Washington can well empathize with the joy in Dewey. And now Miami is just 12 minutes and 45 seconds away from a return to the Super Bowl. And there's a man who will be driving the wagon, heading west.
Defense right back out on the field. That's one of the problems with intercepting it, carrying it in. You don't get any rest, Dick.
I liked your call. The lineman in him bobbled it, as you can identify, but the linebacker in him took it in. Todd knocked down, and a flag is down, and look who's there again. Somebody count the number 77s out there. I think there's more than one. Todd must feel that way.
A.J. Dewey dropping back. Get a chance here to watch him as he slides in behind Barkham and then leaps around in front with that left hand, the forward hand. He's on a roll.
6'4", 248 pounds.
We have defensive holding, number 77. First down.
And Joseph Dewey Jr. from LSU.
He didn't do everything right.
First down play. Todd and the Jets are in trouble. Another interception. Gerald Small. 5 interceptions for Miami.
Interceptions last week against Dan Fouts, and the 5th here today against Richard Todd.
Richard Todd has been intercepted 5 times. This one the most costly. Dewey fighting off a block, bobbling, almost running over Pat Haggerty, and that made it 14-0. Miami has it now at the Jets' 30-yard line, looking for more. All right, Ben, and here in Miami, there's a man that's more than double bogeyed. He's tied a record, 5 interceptions in the AFC Championship game. Miami trying to blow it open with 12 and a half minutes left. Bennett gets about 3. Bob Greasy is with us upstairs. He knows well the thinking of Shula with a 14-0 lead. How do you think the head man of the Dolphins will play it from here, Bob?
Well, I think he will continue to get his running game going. He wants to get at least 3 points out of this, and I can certainly feel for Richard Todd. I've been in his position, but if the defense of the Jets stops the Dolphins, they've got plenty of time to go down and get 2 touchdowns. The game is not over, but I know Don Shula would like to get 3 points at least.
Bob Greasy, along with Earl Morrall, quarterback that perfect 17-0 team of the Dolphins 10 years ago. Woodley, intercepted by Bunnell. who laterals to Holmes, and a flag is down. So Woodley, little play action, raised to throw and didn't see Buttle, and the Jets are still alive.
Interesting that Shula would not come back with a run, but come back with the pass.
Back on the return.
Pays a price for it here, and I think it should be noted here that the Jets have had to come back in both of their playoff games on the road so far to win. And Buttle and that defense would show you here, they're not ready to quit. Buttle high in the air to snare that football. There was an illegal block. They're going to move it back. He's thinking touchdown here as he flipped it back to Jerry Holmes. Almost a mistake.
So the Jets have turned it over 5 times on interceptions, plus the block punt.
You saw the block by number 77, Kenny Neal. I think that's what threw the flag, Dick.
Miami has coughed it up 4 times. The Jets trailing 14-0, send Freeman McNeil out across the 15-yard line. 11.5 minutes left in the 4th quarter. 14-0 Miami.
Bob, I know you're still up there. I question for you as a quarterback. 10 interceptions by Todd against this defense. There's got to be more than just good defense involved in that. Has he been psyched a little bit by this Miami defense?
Well, you know, Merlin, over the years, he has been one of the big reasons why the Jets have dominated the Dolphins. Until this year, the Dolphins didn't beat him, I think, for 8 or 9 games. He has a lot of friends on that defensive team, and I think he plays with a lot of confidence. Right now, his confidence is down a little bit, but he's got to throw the football.
He goes up top, incomplete, trying to hit Lamb Jones, who couldn't get away from a double team.
One of the difficulties getting open on this field, finding the footing. Lamb Jones, world-class speed as a sprinter. Watch the kind of footing problems he has here. Ends up having to jump the feet of one of the defenders. Lyle Blackwood, 42. The ball thrown high and away. Had no chance on that one.
10 minutes, 52 seconds remaining. The top defense in the National Football League has been just that today. It has been the defense. And Miami has turned 2 A.J. Dewey interceptions into the only scores. One by Dewey himself. Todd is down at the 8-yard line. Baumhauer, a former teammate, a former roommate, has the sack of Todd.
Baumhauer doing his own little sack dance, I suppose as an answer to Gastineau. And of course, kicking game coming on here as Todd can find no one open, and number 73, Bob Baumhauer, wraps him up, takes him to the ground.
Ramsey midway in his own end zone to punt. Fumbled the snap, but gets away a dying spiral. Vigorito. It takes a Jets roll onto the 48-yard line. And 13 seconds remaining here at the Orange Bowl. 14-0 Miami. Miami's Orange Bowl. They did not lose here this year at home. Miami trying to turn the hat trick. A lot of threes involved, trying to beat the Jets 3 times this year. A.J. Dewey has 3 interceptions to set a championship record. And Miami now trying to get a 3rd touchdown and leave the Jets at home. Woody Bennett is left at home in his own backfield as Joe Klecko and Mark Gastineau, along with Kenny Neal, make the hit. Back at the Miami 49.
There were a couple of threes involved on that play, 73 and 93. They shut the door very hard. Let's look at Klecko and Gastineau on the left side of that defensive line. They didn't fool anybody there. Gastineau, Klecko, Neal, Lyons, all 4 of them end up on top of Woody Bennett.
It appears after Woodley threw that last interception, you would think that Shula, who calls the plays, is probably saying, we'll stay right on the ground here, not take any chances with a 14-point lead. Quarterback draw, and Woodley gets all the way to the 41-yard line of New York, where it will be 3rd and 2. Bob Vrabel of Notre Dame made the tackle.
Looked like an option play. They put in some special plays for Woodley. They call him the Woodleys. Watch him blow right by Klecko here. Just a little step back. Klecko aggressively upfield, expecting the pass. Turned out to be a big gainer, just short of the first down.
Woodley's running has been a key. He has been hot with a passing arm in the playoffs. Not today, but his running has compensated. Big play here for the Jets defense. If they don't stop Woodley and the Dolphins, it'll cost them some time, and it is Miami apparently calling time.
Some confusion by Cephalo and Joe Rose, or Ronnie Lee, actually, 86, as to who was supposed to go in, who was supposed to stay out. Woodley wisely calls timeout rather than to take the penalty.
Now David Woodley, the leading rusher in the game, with 49 yards, will visit and will return. Now David Woodley and the Miami Dolphins back on the field at the Jets' 40-yard line, 3rd down and a long yard. Woodley, who is one of those individuals that is not as gregarious as others, likes his privacy, has been called a loner. One of the writers here in Miami said if he had his wish, he'd go to the Super Bowl and he'd play before 100,000 empty seats. Doesn't like crowds. You wouldn't know it by his performance in the playoffs. We'll forget how young this quarterback is. Bennett, first down. The Jets 36, and that will allow Miami to consume more time. 8:35 left.
Shula now using his advantage of both the clock and field position and the score on the board. Some of the pain perhaps beginning to settle in on the Jets sideline. But I'll tell you, Dick, this Jet team has not given up. Kenny Neal driving aggressively inside. Number 77 almost made a big play to shut that down before they got the first down.
Key today, as you look at Lamb Jones, the Jets have been able to throw the ball for only 73 yards, while 5 passes have been intercepted by Miami's brilliant defense. Flags down. Jets jump offside. Whether or not they were drawn, we'll see. Woody Bennett, the ball carrier. Don Shula, 53 years of age, will get 5 yards as the offside call against the Jets.
One of the problems that faces the defense when they're down, they need to get the ball back. They begin trying to make the big play on every play, and that's difficult. That often results in mistakes, long runs, problems.
We have offsides, number 73, defense.
Against Klecko, first down and 5.
We've not seen Salam for a long time. He must have re-injured that groin. Klecko's had to play a lot of football.
Into the boyish face of David Woodley. A yard gain by Bennett straight ahead into the arms of Klecko. It'll be 2nd down and 4. 7:40 remaining in this 4th quarter. 14-0 Miami. A.J. Dewey started the going in the 3rd quarter. Intercepted a deflected pass at the New York 48. 7 plays later, Woody Bennett scored from 7 yards out. It was 7-0 Miami. And here in the 4th quarter, Dewey batting down a screen pass from Todd, bobbled it, and then tucked it away and ran 35 yards for a touchdown. It's 14-0 Miami.
And Richard Todd would love to have another chance at that football.
There's the star of the game. Flag down, maybe that Miami took
Too much time. Yep, they wore out the 30-second clock. They'll march it back 5. But they're trying to do that. They're trying to take as much time as they can on every play. Eat close to 30 seconds, just as close as possible. Knock it down. Just 7:02 left on the clock.
The Jets need the ball twice to tie. And, of course, will have to stop Miami from just consuming time and yardage. But that is enough time. Although they haven't been able to move the ball on any sustained drive, they're going to need a break. And And that's what Bill Arnsparger going to his defensive unit, complimenting them on their shutout performance thus far. They played well in the playoffs. New England scored only 1 touchdown. San Diego scored only 1 touchdown. And the Jets haven't scored a touchdown.
But I promise you that the first thing he said is this game is not over yet. Let's not lose our concentration.
2nd and 9. Woodley in the arms of Gastineau. And some of the fans thought that they don't like Gastineau's war dance, and they thought maybe Woodley was roughed up a bit.
Gastineau really didn't dance on that one. Interesting.
Well, he is so quick and runs so well for such a big man.
He really is built like a wide receiver. He has the slim hips, the thin waist, but tremendous acceleration and speed. Watch him, just a little jump as he came up. That was all. No big dance on that one. I think he senses what's happened on the field.
Hard to believe that Gastineau weighs nearly 270 pounds. Little play to Nathan, to the 40 and to the 34, short of the first down, brings up 4th down. Troy made the tackle. 6:15 in the clock running.
Bob Greasy said the ball would be on the ground running, except for that one drop back. It certainly has been on that play, a long passing situation. Jeff Taves, number 60, leading outside. They pinned everyone inside. You're getting pursuit by Marty Lyons there. It's Lyons and Troy eventually that make the tackle. But good pulling, good lead on that play by number 60, Jeff Taves.
The Jets do not send anyone back. No one deep for New York. Jim Turner, who was one of the stars in Super Bowl III with Joe Namath. In fact, he was the leading scorer in that game with 9 points on 3 field goals. He's with us. I want to ask him a question after this play about Oros, who has not kicked well today. No one back. He nubs that one inside the 10 to the 8-yard line. 5:17 left. Jim Turner.
Yes, Marlin.
Well, this is Dick Enberg down here,
yes,
too.
Dick, I'm sorry.
Jim, you've been observing the kicking today, and Oros has not kicked up to form.
Dick, I believe in defense of his performance today. This week when he thought he was going to have to do all the kicking for Von Schaman, I believe he's got a slight growing pull, and it's really showing and telling in his short punts.
That's from all the practice he did for kicking off.
Yes, because it's an abnormal practice for him all week long.
In his own end zone is Richard Todd. And down he goes at the 7-yard line. Didn't get back to the line of scrimmage. Camper has the sack. Of course, that could be critical if Oros does have an injury looking ahead. If Miami's in the Super Bowl, there's only a week's rest.
Camper, as you remember, with 2 back-to-back sacks in the first half, gets another one here. Todd very quickly. He's not using much time at all with a shot to Barkham. Be up close to a first down, a little short. Going to be 3rd and about 3 yards to go.
No huddle for the Jets. 4:45 left in the game. 14-0 Miami. Big play for New York. That's Harper. Broke 1 tackle, but then he's dropped for a loss at the 12-yard line. The Bees got him again. But it's the D, as in Dewey, that has really been the big stinger for Miami today.
Doug Better's big left defensive end, the man who grabbed him on the outside. They were trying to break the speed of Harper upfield. Got away from one man, but the defense swarming to the outside shut him down. Apparently, they're going to have to kick it away.
Ramsey back to punt. We're under 4 minutes. Vigorito at midfield. Vigorito not even going to try. That had to be instructions from the sideline. Don't even try to catch the ball. Risk a fumble. Ball is at the 43. Only 3 minutes and 43 seconds left for Miami. And they get the chance to return to the Super Bowl. Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
WRC-TV, Channel 4, Washington, D.C.
With Merlin Olsen, Dick Enberg, the Miami Dolphins Defense, they say, wins the games no matter what the sport. Football, basketball, baseball. The defense in the championships, and so it has been for Miami today, led by this man, A.J. Dewey, with several tackles, 3 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown. They have shut down the New York Jets offense on this wet field in the Orange Bowl, and now are less than 4 minutes from the big prize, leading 14-0. To the 45-yard line.
And in a year that has featured such high-flying teams, interesting that the Dolphins, a team built on traditional strength, defense, solid line play, would be able to shut down not only the high-flying San Diego Chargers, but a Jet team that has shocked everyone with their ability to play the big game, to win on the road. They've had their problems here today, but problems that I would say are forced errors, not casual errors. They're really forced errors, Dick.
Bennett, or is that Nathan? The uniform soiled. It's Nathan this time. Short yardage out to the 48-yard line. In the 3 playoff games, Miami has intercepted 12 passes and been intercepted only 4. That's a +8, a big +8. Almost 3 extra possessions a game for the Dolphins. And now we're down to 2:45, and the Jets spend their first timeout.
We focused on A.J. Dewey, but I'm sure he'll tell you that a good defense is an unselfish defense. There are 11 men on that field and a lot more in and out, and they've all played exceptional football today.
No question but what Dewey will be the most valuable player. He has had his best game ever in a championship, and it looks as if, unless something happens dramatically in the way for the New York Jets, that we'll have a repeat of Super Bowl VII. Miami and Washington. Miami won that to complete its perfect 17-0 year. That game was played in Los Angeles in the Coliseum. Bob Greasy and Earl Morrall were the quarterbacks, and the names were Fernandez and Scott and Anderson and Kick and Zonka and Morris, Stanfield, and 14-7. And the game's play that was remembered, Garo Yepremian, who had a field goal block. Then he tried to run with it. Then he tried to pass with it. Then he threw an interception. And then he didn't tackle Mike Bass of Washington. It was the only score for the Redskins as Miami won 14-7. It's 14-0 now. And Miami just trying to sit on the lead. Woodley eats it at the 45. He wasn't going to pass, wasn't going to take the chance, and the Jets use their second timeout at 2:38. Walt Michaels looking for something special.
And looking at the offensive unit coming off the field, the offensive line, all their uniforms almost totally black from being in the mud all day. They've done a fine job. Hard yardage out there today, and worked hard in pass protection against a very aggressive Jets defense.
Don Shula. You know where his season began this year? It began here. You know who they played in their first preseason game? The Washington Redskins. And it appears that they're going to finish their year in the same manner. In case you're curious, Miami won that first preseason game. I believe it was 24-7. The Redskins, well, they're able now to stop rooting, if they are rooting for one team or another, and concentrate on the men that they'll be facing. Apparently it'll be the turquoise, the aquamarine, and orange of the Dolphins, unless the Jets can pull out a miracle with 2:38 left. Oros to punt, 10 men on the line of scrimmage. Zone back at the 18. Zone all alone. Good play. Making the tackle.
Steve Schull, number 52. They call him the animal here, Dick. And he just screamed down the field, threw himself in on Schoen's legs. And although Schoen made a nice move, could not get his balance back, he went to the ground.
Joel from William and Mary, one of the many free agents on this Miami team. This telecast has been presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Miami Dolphins and the National Football League is prohibited. High, deflected by Doug Betters, and that was almost a replay of Dewey's touchdown when Dewey deflected a ball up in the air, and A.J. says, hey, listen, Dougie, you've got to get that ball up in the air. You can get 6 out of those things.
What a frustrating way to end such a great season for these Jets, and especially to see the end of this great winning streak on the road. 6 straight weeks in a row, they played it the hard way.
Todd, what a catch by Harper. One hands it, and then has the presence to get out of bounds, stop the clock with 2:15 left at the 33-yard line.
Dick, we might take a moment here since we got the clock stopped to ask Bob Greasy another question. Bob, you saw the game yesterday, the way Washington played against Dallas. How does this Miami Dolphin team match up against the Washington Redskins?
Yeah, Bob may have not heard us.
I think I know they've gone down into the locker rooms, Dick.
Getting ready for the post-game show, so stay with us. We'll get the comments of both the winning and losing team. First down for Todd. The rain falling again. Freeman McNeil out to the 42-yard line. 2:06, 2:05. And they won't get a play off. The 2-minute warning will stop it. And there it is. 2 minutes remaining. With a 14-point lead is close. Here's another fantastic finish. Andra Franklin, who has not returned to the game, hands on his hips, and on the bench to the right, John Giesler. The tackle is neck bandaged.
He's apparently jammed his neck, and both those gentlemen very important. He's got ice on it there. Both those gentlemen very important to the attack here, and I'm sure are concerned because of the 1-week waiting period between now and Super Bowl time. Not much time to get their athletes healthy for that big game.
Todd Kuchenberg, Super Bowl veteran. Todd to Lamb Jones, broken up. Gerald Small made the play. 1:55 left, and now it is 3rd down and 2. Merlin, you asked Bob Greasy how will Miami match up against the Redskins. He's not here, but what do you think?
Well, I know one thing. It's going to be like a National Geographic special. It's going to be the Hogs against the Killer Bees. Both very emotional teams, both well-coached teams. Interesting, contrasting styles, although both really tend to be.
That's a first down for Durking out at the 48-yard line. 1:46. Clock is running.
Both tend to depend on an aggressive team defense. The kind of philosophy that both Arnsparger and
Todd threw it behind Jones, and Fulton Walker almost had the intercept.
And Schuler have espoused here as we get going on this thing, Dick. But I think perhaps the difference in the game will be that Joe Gibbs came out of that setup in San Diego, coaches that single back offense, likes to throw the ball, likes to put it in the air. I think will count more on the strong arm of Theismann, whereas Miami will depend more on the running ability of their quarterback and the running ability of their team rather than the passing.
Hey, let's not forget John Riggins. He's been all world in the playoffs. He's been unstoppable for Washington. Todd to Freeman McNeil, incomplete.
Riggins, of course, setting. Ooh, and we have someone leveled on the line of scrimmage. Riggins coming in with 3 back-to-back 100-yard games. Of course, Freeman McNeil came into this game with 2 100-yard games, and he has really been shut down here today.
That's the first time, by the way, that 3 in the same playoff series that's ever been done. It's been done 3 in a row, but over 2 years. John Riggins will own that record all alone. I want to thank Joe Costanza, our non-Perel statistician, and his supporters, Steve Dans, Bob Grimm, Mike Hafner, player identification, Bo McComas and Harry Von Suskel, Ted Nathanson, George Finkel, our director, our producer, all the men and women on our NBC Sports crew. We're gearing up for Pasadena. We'll be heading west with a winner. Stay tuned for NFL 82. We'll get the reaction of the Dolphins and the Jets on this rainy day in Miami.
I'm sure one of the things you'll hear after this game, some more conversation about the fact that there was no tarp on this field. And even though it's rained all during the game, this field would have been in much better shape had there been a tarp on the field overnight during this heavy storm.
1 minute, 25 seconds left. Hard to argue with that one. Unless you're in the nation's capital. Hod. It's complete, but in the field of play, the Jets would have been better off had Walker not caught that ball. It's his only catch of the game, and it comes for a 1-yard loss. That's how well Miami shut down the aerial weaponry of the Jets.
One thing they have done, they've rerouted.
Incomplete to Bobby Jones. He short-hopped it. Good call. Kozlowski taunting Jones a little bit, so Jones reacted.
Pressure applied again. Number 77, A.J. Dewey. Here he's working on Augustiniak. That was the big play that set it up. A.J. Dewey, a little package of his exploits of the early going in this game. Second interception. The big one now to come.
A.J. Dewey. He finds it all. The big stinger of the Killer Bees of Miami's defense. A.J. Dewey. What a day. Miami has taken over on downs, and it's academic. They only have to snap the ball once, maybe twice. 56 seconds left. Jets are without timeouts. They'll celebrate in Miami, not in New York. Don Shula is back in the Super Bowl. He lost Super Bowl III as the head coach of the Colts. He lost the first time Miami was in, and then he won 2 in a row. Super Bowl VII against the Redskins, Super Bowl VIII against the Vikings. He goes west again, and he takes with him Bill Arnsparger, the man he just hugged, the defensive wizard. And now with 24 seconds left, the final snap of this championship game.
Jets on the other side of the field. They won't celebrate this game, but they can't be sorry about a season that brought them to the finals, this AFC championship, a year that saw them make tremendous growth, tremendous strides.
Both the winning and losing coach walk off with their shoulders squared and their head high, but it's Miami with a focus on Pasadena. 14-0. The Dolphins have won the championship. A.J. Dewey. Every man, every woman should have a day like the one he enjoyed on this rainy afternoon in January 1983.
This crowd standing, and well they should, enthusiastic in spite of the rain. They've played their own important role in this game.
Well, the weather, the nickname of the Dolphins, it was perfect. Weather for Dolphins. And the Jet ride has been canceled. No trip this year, but you know it's a club that's very close to taking it all. Don Shula, a remarkable leader. Many say he's right there with the top 2 or 3 who's ever coached this game. And the ultimate testimony is, you ask any player, whether he was with Miami or any other team in the league, say, if you could play with under one coach, who would it be? Shula. Lou Michaels' brother, Walt Michaels.
I'll tell you this, though. Walt Michaels' players will tell you the same thing. They love that man, too, Dick. He's had a fine year for them. But the celebration is there, where it belongs. They're the winners. They've earned themselves a trip to Pasadena.
The defense will take them there. The best in the National Football League throws a whitewash at the New York Jets. It's 14-0. NFL 82. Stay tuned. We'll follow.
RFK Stadium in Washington, D.C. Joe Theismann throwing for the Redskins. Touchdown to Charlie Brown. They led Dallas 7-3. The fun bunch for the Redskins. You will see them next Sunday into the interception for a touchdown. Walt Michaels saw number 77 do it today for the Dolphins. Todd throwing. There he is. A.J. Dewey with his 3 interceptions. Number 77. As the Dolphins shut out the Jets 14-0. And so, Super Bowl 17. A week from today in Pasadena, a rematch of Super Bowl 7. The Dolphins and the Redskins in Los Angeles. Remember that game 10 years ago? This was the most famous play as Garo Yepremian lined up for a field goal. And as he later said, well, the game was boring. He tried to make it interesting. Mike Bass on the interception or the fumble return, the only Washington points of that day. Miami was a winner 14-7 in Super Bowl 7. And now 10 years later, it is the same matchup. The first early line comes to us from Bob Martin, the odds maker who sets the spread in Las Vegas. Miami is favored over Washington by 3 points, and after watching that Miami Killer Bee defense today, who could blame him? And so, Super Bowl 17 will be Miami and Washington. The Dolphins right now are having their team prayer in the locker room. So, we will be going there shortly as the Miami Dolphins today against the New York Jets in impressive style have earned their trip to Super Bowl 17.
Well, then we're here with Joe Theismann. We've just been watching the game. Things are a little drier than the Theismann home in suburban Vienna, Virginia. Your thoughts now on the Miami Dolphins? They played a heck of a game today, and when you look at what they've done the last couple of weeks, 10 interceptions against 2 pretty good passing football teams.
There's no doubt about it. I think if you look at the Miami drive through the playoffs, it was an opportunity capitalized on interceptions, fumble recoveries, and whatnot. Turnovers have been a big thing for them. It's been the same thing for us in the NFC. We've capitalized on turnovers. We've had an opportunity to put points on the board when we've gotten them close. Same thing happened with Miami today and last week.
Joe, so much was said about the emotion of the Cowboy game. How drained are the Redskins now coming into what obviously has to be the biggest game of the season?
I think our fans are much more drained than we are. The emotional hype, the intensity in the town was incredible, but I think the players kept everything in perspective. Yesterday in the locker room, everybody kept saying this is not the end of the season. We haven't accomplished what we want to accomplish. We still have to go to the Super Bowl. We still have an opportunity to really prove and gain respectability. That's what's on the mind of all of our players. So I don't necessarily think that the emotions were at a peak where the Super Bowl will become anticlimactic.
While we were watching the game, you mentioned that the Dolphins keep their cornerbacks deep. They hang deep and prevent the deep pass. You think you can go deep on that football team?
Well, I think we're going to have to do whatever we have to do. You know, with Coach Gibbs, he's a man who'll look at a lot of film. He'll study it, and I'm sure he'll come up with something that'll give us an opportunity to do very well. The Dolphins are a great defensive football team. I think if you were to parallel 2 football teams in the AFC and the NFC, you'd probably wind up saying the Miami Dolphins and the Washington Redskins are the same type of football teams.
Okay, Joe Theismann, let's go back now to Lynn Berman at the Orange Bowl.
Thank you, Bill McAtee. The #1 defense against the #2 defense in Super Bowl 17. Isn't it fitting that the Miami Dolphins, the team that stayed together more than any other during the player strike, has earned a trip to Super Bowl 17? Hard work pays off. We'll be back with more right after these words from your local station.
A promotional fee has been paid to NBC by United Airlines. We serve more of this land's top 100 business centers than any other airline. Fly the friendly skies.
The Super Bowl trophy and a chance to play for $70,000 per man in Pasadena for the winning team. $52,000 per man on the losing team. The Jets have to console themselves today with $34,000 apiece. It's on to Pasadena for the Miami Dolphins and the Washington Redskins a week from today at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, right here on NBC. This is the Budweiser NFL Report, brought to you by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. And welcome back to the Orange Bowl roof, everybody. Before we head to the roof for the Rose Bowl in Pasadena next week, Michael Adamle standing by in the victorious Miami Dolphin locker room with Don Shula and owner Joe Robbie. Let's go down to Mike Adamle now. Michael?
Well, Len, as everybody knows, the Miami Dolphins waited a long year. They missed the chance of the AFC Championship game a year ago in that devastating overtime loss to the San Diego Chargers. They have not won the AFC Championship since 1973, but the drought is over. The Miami Dolphins are once again champions. Don Shula, congratulations, a fantastic effort.
Thank you. This team just got better and better as the playoffs approached. When we had to start playing great football, our defense all year long, and today was fantastic. Bill Arnsberger, Mike Scarry, Tom Keene, the defensive coaches, the offensive coaches that have done such a great job. The way that Woodley has led our offense in these last 3 weeks. So it was a great win for us, and now we're going back to work right now. We're looking forward to next week.
Owner and club president Joe Robbie, your thoughts?
Well, I think Don Shula and the Miami Dolphin players gave the greater Miami community a great gift this afternoon. They put them back in the Super Bowl for the first time in 9 years, and they commemorated the 10th year of our undefeated team by taking us back to the Los Angeles area to play the Washington Redskins and beat them again. So I'm mighty gratified to the players and to Coach Shula and to all of his staff for this marvelous accomplishment, and I'm looking forward to next weekend.
Well, I know you two haven't always seen eye to eye, but you're going to keep them around for a while.
It's a great day today.
Coach, you know, a lot of people will point at the Miami success and look at this players' strike and how unified the Dolphins apparently were. What about that?
Well, I'm sure that they worked with the idea of getting in shape and staying in shape and hopefully be ready for the opportunity when and if it comes. And some of the discipline and all of the other things that have rubbed off, I think, helped a little bit.
Well, congratulations again, Coach. Final thoughts on Super Bowl rematch of Super Bowl VII.
Well, we're just looking forward to it. I'm so proud of this football team for the accomplishments, the way that we had to believe in ourselves when nobody else was believing in us, and we just hung together and got better and better and rose to the occasion each and every week. We got one more week to do it.
Okay, Joe, Don, congratulations. Good luck next week. Let's go back to Len Berman.
Thank you, Mike. 2 months ago, this man told me in our NFL 82 studio, Miami and Washington in the Super Bowl.
Nice to be right once in a while. But, you know, with all due respect for Don Shula, my least favorite bromide I kept hearing before this game was the Jets' natural talent against the Dolphins' coaching. Sure, the Dolphins are well coached, but they can play, too. A guy named A.J. Dewey made a point of showing us that tonight.
Well, David Woodley, 9 of 21 for just 87 yards and 3 interceptions. Those are the stats of the winning quarterback heading to the Super Bowl, David Woodley. We'll be back with much more from the Orange Bowl, Miami, right after these words from Budweiser. Key to the Super Bowl matchup, 14-0 Miami over the Jets, the two top teams in interceptions, and the man who had 3 today, our star of the game for the Miami Dolphins, A.J. Dewey, with Mike Adamle right now in the locker room.
Len, I doubt that there's a position on the football field that A.J. Dewey cannot play. Linebacker, defensive back even sometimes. With 3 interceptions today, what about your performance? Absolutely fantastic.
Well, Mike, you know, I was just really excited about getting out there today along with our defensive unit. We just wanted to go out there and prove to America that we could beat the New York Jets 3 times in 1 year, even though a lot of people thought that wouldn't happen. And I was just fortunate today that the ball was thrown my way a couple times, and a couple times I read the plays, and one was a tip ball, the other I just read the play all the way, and I ran with the fullback down the middle of the field. It was a coverage that we were using quite a bit of the time during the game, and I'm sure their offensive coordinator felt that they would beat me 1-on-1, and I just proved them wrong. And on the touchdown, I read where Harper was coming out of there on a screen pass, and I just got my hands up and batted the ball, and batted it around a couple times, and finally got a hold of it and ran it in for the touchdown. And
okay, let's save it. We got the replay of that interception, pulling a page out of the Washington Redskins. Actually, it took 2 players yesterday to do it for them. Today it was just you.
Okay, on this one it was just a tip ball, and I just happened to keep my eyes on the ball and made the play on that one. And I was beat for a while. And on this one here, we were using the same coverage a while, and they thought they could get their fullback down the middle of the field on me, and I just happened to turn around at the right time and saw the ball coming and made the play. Here I see where it was a tip ball. I bobbled it for a couple times, and once I got a hold of it, there was no one going to catch me then. So I just kept on going, and it was a real exciting moment at the time. And I just want to tell all my family back home hello, because I know they were here for a couple weeks watching this play, and they had to leave town, but, this one's for y'all.
Okay, AJ, today you solved the masterful quarterback and Richard Todd. Next week, Joe Theismann, your thoughts?
Well, Washington uses a multiple offense, and they use a set that we've seen a lot this year, and we're just going to have to use our preparation the way we prepared for the San Diego offense. We're going to have to prepare the way we did for Minnesota's offense, because they like to go to the the two tight end offense. They like to use Riggins a lot, trying to get the running game going. But we're going to worry about that in the next couple of days because we're going to do some little celebrating today and pack our bags to go to Pasadena. And the Redskins will meet you there on the 50, and I hope it's a hell of a game for everybody to view at home.
Okay, I can remember a day when the scouts were saying that you couldn't make the transition from the linebacker to defensive line or vice versa, but tremendous job today. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much, Mike. I just think it's a lot of credits due to Coach Arnsbarger and our defensive coaching staff for helping us put our defensive unit together the way we have this year. And in Pasadena, we're going to display that ability that we have again, and we're going to be the world champions, hopefully.
Okay, congratulations. Len?
Okay, thank you. Love the bit of a smile on Joe Theismann's face as he watched at home outside Washington, D.C. in Virginia. Now, coming up in a few minutes, the Bobcats beat the number 1 seed, the number 3 seed, the Raiders in Cincinnati, but could not do it against the number 2 seed, the Miami Dolphins, shut out 14-0. Give some credit to a good Jets season, and let's go down to their locker room. Ahmad Rashad standing by with Coach Walt Michaels.
Thank you, Lynn. Coach, you had a great season. I know you're here with a lot of mixed emotions. I've been there once before, and it's just a shame that your season had to end one game away from the Super Bowl.
Well, I guess that always is, but then it ended one game away for Dallas also. So when you look at it, somebody has to win. There are 28 teams. It only boils down to one, so there's nothing else you can do about it.
What would you say was the key to this game today?
Well, it's hard to say. I think there was a lot of good hitting in the football game. I thought we played good defense. I thought they played good defense. There were a lot of factors in the game. There were a lot of turnovers. A lot of good things happened that I like about the game of football. It was aggressive. It was good, hard hitting. Unfortunately, we didn't come out on the big end.
It was a terrible football field. How did the field conditions have an effect on your game plan?
Well, that's pretty hard to say. You know, when I used to play football, I played under certain conditions like this. Maybe I could give you a better answer. But not being on the field and just watching some of the slipping and sliding, I think the best thing to do is to ask some of the players how they felt about it.
All right, Coach. Thank you. Congratulations on a great season, and good luck to you.
Good. Thank you very much.
All right. Back to you, Merlin.
All right, Ahmad Rashad. Len Berman on the roof of the Orange Bowl. I'd like to send you back now to our game announcers, Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen. We will all be in Pasadena. They'll be calling Super Bowl 17 for us. I'd like to get their thoughts now, so down to the booth. Gentlemen.
Well, Len, it'll be our pleasure. The last time they played out there against each other in the Super Bowl, it was the over-the-hill gang of the Washington Redskins against the no-name defense. Remember they called the Dolphins then? Well, you certainly know the name of this group, the Swarm, and their big killer bee there, A.J. Dewey. What are your impressions?
Well, they do have a name, but the identities until this season, a lot of them were kept secret, too. I think it's going to be a good game, highlighted by two tough defenses, two offenses that have stars, but really have to rely on a lot of people who have just been steady and performed in spite of the fact that not many people knew their names.
I'm thankful of the game today, Len, that A.J. Dewey made the interception for a touchdown so that we can't go back and say, well, was that a fumble or not a fumble on the first drive for a touchdown by the New York Jets, by the Miami Dolphins, because had the Jets recovered that fumble, and if it had been ruled a fumble as we replayed it over and over again, it would have clouded this game. I'm glad we're not doing that.
I'm glad we aren't either. It would have stuck in the craw of a lot of people, I'm sure. And I know that there's no embarrassment for the Jets and the kind of football they played today, but what a performance by the defense, especially for the Miami Dolphins.
So from us, congratulations to Don Shula and the Miami Dolphins. Len?
Okay, Dixie, on the plane to Pasadena, the teams have met 4 times in their history. Miami has defeated Washington 3 times, including Super Bowl 7. Bob Hope, that... Back at the Orange Bowl, another storyline you'll hear this week. Bobby Beathard, the Washington general manager, also built the Redskins here. The same man. You'll hear that story as we count down to Super Bowl 17. Okay, let's take a look at the highlights. It was all Dolphins today as they defeat the New York Jets 14-0 and head on their way to Pasadena. Despite the rain, the crowd was ready and wild. Very few notes. And this one by Troy. Scoreless first half. Then what could have been a controversial play ruled down. Franklin was no fumble as Gastineau recovered it. So the Dolphin drive was kept alive. It was 7-0. The fumble loomed awfully large until this play, as Dick Enberg pointed out. A.J. Dewey, the play of the game. Look out, Pat Haggerty, the official. There's the touchdown. The Dolphins head to Pasadena 14-0, shutting down the mighty New York Jets. And Walt Michaels, that's the story. The Jets shut out today by the Miami Dolphins. Now, we'd like to send you down to the locker room one more time, one last visit with the victorious Miami Dolphins before they board the plane. Let's go to Mike Adamle.
Len, they like to talk about the killer bees. Well, this is one of the killer DBs. Defensive back Don McNeil had a great day against your old Alabama teammate Richard Todd. Now your first trip to the Super Bowl. Your thoughts?
Ready to go to the Super Bowl and have a great time and go out there and win this thing because it's a childhood dream of mine, and go out there and give it the best I can.
Well, you helped shut out Wesley Walker today, and a fantastic effort. Don blocked punt as well. Congratulations. Good luck in Pasadena.
All right.
Len?
All of the NFL 80 crew will be on their way to Pasadena. We'll be heading out tonight, and we will see you a week from today. We go from the roof of the Orange Bowl to the roof of the Rose Bowl. Super Sunday here on NBC. NFL 82 will begin at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. The Dolphins and the Redskins. We hope you join us for what we think will be a terrific game, the rematch of Super Bowl 7. For all of us at NBC Sports, I'm Len Berman. Thanks for watching. See you next Sunday.
We're back. The situation. 2 minutes remaining in the game. The Minnesota Vikings have a second down and 8. The ball at the 14-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. And Dallas leading 27-24. 2 timeouts for the Vikings, 3 timeouts for the Cowboys.
Win or lose, the Vikings have been a gallant team tonight. They really have.
That they have. And particularly on defense. They played superb defensive football. Here comes the safety blitz. The Vikes pick it up. Kramer's the man wide open. It is Ricky Young. He hook slides and gets into the end zone. There's a lot of time remaining.
That's Ricky Young for you. He can kill you in any number of ways. He's an all-purpose football player.
I love to see that bench empty. The defense is out there, and they want it. A lot of want to.
Ricky Young, that was only his 4th reception of the season, and what a big one it was for the Vikings.
You see a little fake in the backfield, too Young. Tommy drifts over, turns around, he's by himself. Ball was underthrown. Good move there by Young.
Ricky Young came to the Vikes in '78 for Ed White, who went to the Chargers, and until Ted Brown arrived in '79, he was the Vikings offense. Danmeyer for the conversion. And the Vikings have taken the lead again. 1:52 remaining, and the Cowboys have 3 timeouts. So, call the travel agent again. Tampa Bay, St. Louis, and Atlanta. It's really heady on the part of Kramer, too, Don, because he was really being harassed. Somehow found Ricky Young.
It's a good call here, though, Frank. I mean, it's one of those chance calls. I mean, if he's covered, of course, you can throw it away, but the odds are somebody reading it that way, that's the linebacker's man by the time he comes out of that backfield. They just didn't stay with him.
Might have been a good decision on the part of Bud Grant. His team is tiring, or they have appeared to be, particularly on defense. And he could have worked the ball down, figuring on a field goal to tie it up. But he brought one out of the old playbook and got it in for the touchdown that gave him the lead.
He has coached as fine a game tonight as I think he ever has in his whole career.
He's without his key defensive inside linebacker, Scott Studwell. Out of play tonight. 2 wide receivers, Ahmad Rashad, Sammy White. Sammy White's been in the game, but he has not been a factor. And they have a 31-27 lead over the Cowboys with 1:52 remaining in the game.
And Dallas has a lot of time.
Danmeyer hangs it high for Timmy Newsom. And Newsom gets out over the 30-yard line. In the arms of John Turner, taken out of bounds close to the 33-yard line.
That's where not having a kicker who can kick off for you into the end zone can kill you. Dallas gets consistently good field position on Minnesota kickoffs.
It does mean a lot. Instead of having the ball at the 20 following a touchback, the Cowboys have the ball near the 33-yard line.
get up to the 50% mark. Inside handoff, Dorsett. And upended is Tony Dorsett. Superb play by John Turner, who, like his teammate Doug Martin, has been a little bit of everywhere tonight. He made that tackle behind the line of scrimmage.
And two guys were blocking him.
That's right. Hurry-up offense now by the Cowboys. No huddle. Conserving timeouts. 1:24. The clock is moving, and quick movement. I think Dallas, at least the Vikings, are saying the offensive line pulled them off.
Well, they claim they were induced, but I doubt it.
Well, they sure do look smooth, no matter what you say. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Cowboys will back up 5. Danny White wants a little explanation of it, saying that his men were indeed set.
So far,
Not a start, right side, offense, second down.
So far, not a touchdown pass thrown by Danny White. First time this year. Should it sustain?
Tom's having a hard time handling 2 careers. It's showbiz and football.
Never easy.
Yeah, tough.
Second down, 17. White underthrows, but Butch Johnson holds on, getting back to the original line of scrimmage, +1, so it will be third down now and 9.
Now Johnson will hustle out there. He's the only one out there who's really kind of moving around, and he catches a lot of those that are low.
You get it around him, and he will make a great stab at it. Batted down. The 5th time it's been batted down tonight, and Randy Holloway
you believe
put the big
that?
paw up on this one.
Holloway, Mullaney, Doug Martin. You can name them all.
4th down. 54 seconds remaining. The crowd on his feet. They've had so much success over the years with these Vikings. Bud Grant, in the last 15 years of Minnesota, has won 11 Central Division titles, 1 NFL title, and 3 NFC titles. The Vikes have been to the Super Bowl 4 times. 4th down and 9. Batted down again. And the Vikings will take over.
Love it.
At the 33-yard line.
And they will win this football game. And what a gallant team.
6 times Danny White has seen the ball batted away. And Minnesota appears to be the host team next Sunday to the Atlanta Falcons, while Dallas will host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Well, he's got Cooper working on him, and he just sticks up his head one more time. And that's not a turnout to lights. There's never been one, has there?
3rd time, Holloway has batted it away.
I think it might be propitious for you to end the season on that note, singing it.
Why don't you and I propitious together, and you kind of hum along there in the background. Are you ready?
I'll sing it myself.
All right, 1 and
I have an opportunity to sing much.
Let's have it. Will you join in, Frank? I mean, this is basically it for a while, you know. 1 and a 1, 2, 3. Turn out the lights.
1st down.
The party is
10
over.
for Minnesota.
You're not helping, guys.
Inside the 34.
I say that all good things must end.
Ted Brown working on the clock.
Nice. Those guys better get it in gear, whoever they play next week. It's Tampa, I guess, right?
Cowboys at the belated timeout, using one of theirs. Cowboys can stop it twice more. I want to tell you, this ABC Sports exclusive has been brought to you by Budweiser Light. The light beer brewed with quality ingredients in Beechwood aging for a clean, distinctive taste worthy of the king of beers. By Chevy Trucks and your local Chevrolet dealer. Tough Chevy Trucks are taking charge.
Boy. Well, you know, pride's not too hard to swallow if you just chew it long enough.
That's your decision.
That's it. So they're going to have to chew on it for a little bit. Ever on TV? Yes. This telecast, incidentally, ladies and gentlemen, is presented by the authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the expressed written consent of the National Football League is prohibited. And I'm on my way. I've done my time. Shoshona.
That man has done his time tonight.
That's it.
Cowboys can stop it twice more. 38 seconds remain. It's 2nd down and 7. Ball resting right at the 30-yard line. And Ted Brown over the left side. Short of the 1st down, but up close to the 25-yard line. Cowboys still have not stopped the clock. To remind you, as is our custom, as the clock is now stopped by the Cowboys, remind you to stick around at the conclusion of the game. We want to let you know the names and meet some of the people that have traveled back and forth across the country for so many years. Also, take a look at some of the wild plays that we have seen over the course of the year.
Why not?
Bud Grant can't be much happier about any victory. For Tony Dorsett, an NFL record tonight, 99 yards from scrimmage, one that stood since 1949. And on the night, 153 yards, and Freeman McNeil will be the NFL rushing leader for this season. And when, as you watch Freeman McNeil, you get a feeling he's going to be there in years to come.
However, he may not be there in the playoffs. The Jets removed him at the very least precautionarily in the game against Kansas City Sunday.
Kramer hands off to Brown, looking for the 1st down. Driven backwards. And now Cowboys use their final timeout. And 11 seconds show on the scoreboard clock. Remind you again, we'll be in Honolulu for the Pro Bowl, February the 6th. And Tom Landry will be next Sunday in Dallas, the stadium with the real hole in the roof. They'll entertain Tampa Bay, a team that they managed to defeat during the course of the season, but gave them all they would ever want.
5 times inside the 10-yard line, Tampa Bay. In a game they lost 14-9. They couldn't get it into the end zone.
Part of what it takes to beat the Cowboys is to getting rid of the mystique that's in your mind about playing them, and Tampa Bay certainly has not had any great respect for them. And they really bounced them around in that game, even though they lost it.
Defense won for Minnesota tonight. Great defense. And Tampa Bay has one of the great defenses in this league. Not a happy Tom Landry, you can understand.
How can you tell?
Not bad, though. He set an NFL consecutive winning season record this year, 17 consecutive seasons in a row. They have been winning. They've been in the playoffs 16 times. And they're in there against Tampa Bay beginning on Sunday. 4th down, long 2. Cowboys out of timeouts. Brown gets the 1st down, the final nail in the coffin. This game is history. A great victory for the Vikings, who now can unpack, settle in, and entertain the Atlanta Falcons next Sunday. And no finer game for Bud Grant, I do not believe. He did it without his 2 best wide receivers, without Scott Studwell, his top defensive linebacker. And a smile by Bud Grant. We'll be returning to the Metrodome in Minneapolis for a final word in just a moment.
Advanced civilization. The Buick T-types. Each designed for precision, sophistication, response. In looks, in handling, in feel. 5 very advanced, very civilized road cars with 5 distinct personalities. The T-types, further proof of highly intelligent life at Buick.
You know people like me. We're young, ambitious. These are the uniforms we wear at work. But these are the uniforms we wear when we serve part-time in the National Guard and the Reserves. You see, in the Guard and Reserves, you earn extra money. So you not only serve your country, you serve yourself. Yet while you serve, you can live at home and keep your full-time job. Because in the Guard and Reserves, you don't have to give up one life to live another.
The National Guard and the Reserves. Talk to your local recruiter.
Once again, the final score, the Vikings defeat the Dallas Cowboys 31-27. Remember, stay tuned for ABC News Nightline after your local news, 11:30 on the West Coast over most of these ABC stations. Our travel arrangements made through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United flies more people to Hawaii than any other airline. That's what friendly skies are all about.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Frank Sinatra sings to the music of Joe Raposo. Here's to the winners as we ask you to meet the people behind the scenes who make Monday Night Football possible, and as we show you some of our highlight moments this year.
Here's to the winners. Lift up the glasses. Here's to the glory